In this video, you're going to practice 1.5 hour of listening. So you can just keep working out while you listen to this video. Let's get started.
Hello, welcome to my easy English conversation. Comment easy01 to get the PDF of this class. This series helps you to improve your English listening. In this video, you're going to listen to slow and clear English speaking. These conversations are easy to understand. They are perfect for English beginners. Listen carefully and try to understand the sentences. You can just watch and listen, or you can try to repeat after me. Today, we're going to talk about goals. Everyone has a goal. Goals help us to improve our lives. Some goals are short-term goals. Other goals are long-term goals. Short-term goals are goals that we want to achieve soon. We want them fast. And long-term goals may take more time. Today, I'm gonna talk about some of my goals. Goal number 1, learning Japanese. One of my biggest goals is learning Japanese. I really want to improve my Japanese language skills. Japanese is a beautiful language. I enjoy learning new languages. I like Japanese animation and mangas. Learning a language helps us to understand new cultures. I want to understand Japanese better. I want to speak Japanese better. I study Japanese every single day. My dream is to travel to Japan one day with my wife. I want to order food. I want to drink tea. I want to visit new places. That would make me really happy. What about you? What language do you want to learn? Goal number 2, creating more YouTube videos. Another goal of mine is to create more YouTube videos. I really enjoy making videos. I love teaching English. Teaching English is something that makes me really happy. I love helping people learn English. When I create videos, I can help people all over the world. Some people watch my videos in Brazil. Some people watch my videos in India. I have students all over the world. That is amazing. My goal is to help people improve their listening, improve their pronunciation, and feel more confident when speaking English. Do you watch YouTube videos to improve your English? Goal number 3. Another goal of mine is improving my English app. Technology can help people learn anywhere. With an app, students can practice English at home, outside, on the bus, during a break, or before going to sleep. I want to have students to learn English every day. Practice is very important, and that's why I developed and also I am improving my English app. Learning English doesn't need to be complicated. It can be simple and enjoyable. What about you? Do you use any apps to practice your English? Goal number 4. Traveling to London with my students. Another goal of mine is traveling to London with my students. It will be our second trip there. London is an amazing city. It's full of history. It's full of culture. And for sure, it's a great place to practice real English. I want my students to practice English in real life. In London, we can visit museums, walk through the city, listen to native speakers, and practice English together. Traveling is a powerful way to learn a language. When you travel, you practice English every day in real situations. You listen more, you speak more, and you learn much faster. What about you? Have you ever traveled to another country? Where would you like to travel? Goal number 5. Another goal of mine is taking better care of my health. I want to eat healthier food. Healthy food gives us energy. I also want to exercise more often. Exercise helps our body and our mind. I love calisthenics. Calisthenics is a type of exercise. I love calisthenics. You do not need machines. For example, push-ups, pull-ups, and so on. These exercises make your body stronger. Exercise also helps to reduce stress. After exercising, I feel more focused and motivated. A healthy body helps us to have a healthy mind. What about you? Do you exercise? How often do you practice physical activity? If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. In the description, you can find out more about my app and my courses, and also our trip to London this year, 2026. Goals help us grow. Goals help us improve, but progress takes time. Every day, we can take small steps. Small steps lead to a big progress. Thank you for listening this easy conversation. Don't forget to comment easy01 to get this PDF. Hello. Today I'm gonna talk about my day yesterday. So listen carefully and try to understand this conversation in English. This is a slow English conversation. Today, I'll talk about what happened and what I did yesterday. Yesterday, my day was not perfect, but it was a simple day. A simple day can still be a good day. Small actions are important. Small actions create results. Yesterday, I woke up a little late. I did not wake up early. I didn't wake up early. I stayed in bed longer than usual. I felt tired and I had low energy. My body was slow. My eyes were heavy. I looked at the ceiling. I stayed quiet. I did not move. I thought about my day. I thought about my tasks. I felt a little lazy. I stayed in bed for a few minutes. Maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. I don't know. I didn't want to get up. I wanted to sleep more, but I knew I needed to start my day. So slowly, very slowly, I got out of bed. I stood up. I stretched my body. I stretched my arms. I stretched my legs. Stretching helps me wake up. It makes my body feels better. I walked slowly to the kitchen. The floor was cold and the house was very quiet. It felt refreshing. Water helps me wake up. Water gives me energy. Then I made my coffee. I like coffee in the morning. Coffee is part of my routine. Coffee is part of my routine. I prepared it slowly. I waited for it. I smelled the coffee. In British English, you might say, I smelt the coffee. It made me feel better. I took my coffee. I sat down. I looked around. Everything was calm. Everything was quiet. I enjoyed that moment. A simple moment. Then I checked my phone. I saw some messages. I read them slowly. Nothing urgent. Nothing important. Just normal messages. I took deep breath. I breathed it in and then breathed it out. I felt calm. I felt present. I felt ready. I was ready to start my day. After that, I started working. I opened my computer. The screen was bright. I waited for everything to load. I checked my tasks. I had many things to do. Some tasks were easy. Some tasks were difficult. I didn't rush. I stayed calm. I didn't panic. I started with a small task, a simple task, something easy. Small tasks are important. They help me to start. Then I did another task and another task and so on. I did one thing at a time. I didn't try to do everything at once. Little by little, step by step, I made progress. Progress is slow sometimes, but progress is still progress. Sometimes I felt distracted. Sometimes I looked at my phone. Sometimes I lost focus. But I came back. I returned to my work. I focused again. Focus is important. Consistency is important. Discipline is important. When I feel tired, I keep going. Even small work is good work. Doing something is better than doing nothing. At lunchtime, I felt hungry. My body needed food. I went to the kitchen again. I wanted something to eat. So I looked for something to eat. I prepared something simple. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated. I ate rice and chicken. The food was warm. The food smelled good. I sat down to eat. I ate slowly. I didn't rush. I enjoyed the moment. I enjoyed the food. Eating is important. Food gives me energy. After eating, I felt better. I felt stronger and I had more energy. My body felt good. My mind felt clear. After lunch, I took a short break. Sat down. I closed my eyes. I relaxed my body. I didn't think about work. I didn't think about my problems. I just rested. Rest is important. Rest helps the mind. After a few minutes, I opened my eyes. I felt better. Then I went back to work. In the afternoon, I studied English. I opened my material. I focused on learning. I listened to simple English. I paid attention to the studies. I repeated the sentences. I spoke slowly. I tried again. Sometimes I made mistakes. That's fine. Mistakes are part of learning. Mistakes help me improve. Practice is very important. Repetition is the key. The more I practice, the better I get. Little by little, I improve. In the evening, I felt a little tired. My body was heavy. My eyes felt tired again. But I kept going. I didn't stop. I finished my work. I completed my tasks. I closed my computer and I turned it off. I took a deep breath. I felt relief. I felt good. I felt proud. I did what I needed to do, and that's enough. At night, I ate dinner. Dinner was simple, light, and easy. After dinner, I relaxed. I sat down. I watched a video. I like simple videos. They help me relax. I don't want stress at night. I want calm. Sometimes I read something. I like reading. Reading helps me learn. Reading is good for the mind. Before sleeping, I thought about my day. I reviewed everything. Morning, afternoon, and night. I didn't do everything. I didn't complete all my tasks, but I did enough, and that's okay. I accept my day. I accept my progress. Not every day needs to be perfect. Not every day needs to be good. Perfection is not necessary. A good day is a simple day. A good day is a real day. Small actions create progress. Progress creates confidence, and confidence creates change. Change takes time, but change happens. If I continue, I will improve. What about you? What did you do yesterday? Did you wake up early? Or did you wake up late? Did you work? Did you study? Did you rest? Was your day busy or was it calm? Tell me in the comments. Listen again. Repeat the sentences. Like and subscribe. If you want more practice, check the link in the description. See you next lesson. Bye-bye. Hello. Today, I'll tell you about a good day. Listen carefully. This is a slow English conversation. Today, I'll talk about a good day. A good day does not need to be perfect. A good day is simple. I wake up early. I feel calm. I feel rested. I open the window. I see the sunlight. The day looks beautiful. I drink some water and then I make my coffee. I like coffee in the morning. I sit down. I think about my day. I feel motivated. I start working. I focus on my tasks. I do one thing at a time. Little by little, I make progress. At lunchtime, I eat something simple. Healthy food gives me energy. After lunch, I take a short break. I relax for a few minutes. Then I go back to work. In the afternoon, I study English. I listen to simple English. I repeat the sentences. Practice is very important. In the evening, I go for a walk. I enjoy the fresh air. I feel good. My body feels strong. My mind feels calm. At night, I eat dinner. At night, I dinner. Then I relax. I watch a video or read something. I like to read. I love reading mangas. I read every single day. Before sleeping, I think about my day. I feel grateful. A good day is not about doing everything. A good day is about doing simple things well. Small actions create a good life. What about you? What is a good day for you? What do you like to do? Subscribe to this channel, like the video. If you want to practice English every day, check out my app or book a class with me. The link is in the description. See you next lesson. Hello. Today, I'll tell you about a good day. Listen carefully. This is a slow English conversation. Today, I'll talk about a good day. A good day does not need to be perfect. A good day is simple. I wake up early. I feel calm. I feel rested. I open the window. I see the sunlight. The day looks beautiful. I drink some water and then I make my coffee. I like coffee in the morning. I sit down. I think about my day. I feel motivated. I start working. I focus on my tasks. I do one thing at a time. Little by little, I make progress. At lunchtime, I eat something simple. Healthy food gives me energy. After lunch, I take a short break. I relax for a few minutes. Then I go back to work. In the afternoon, I study English. I listen to simple English. I repeat the sentences. Practice is very important. In the evening, I go for a walk. I enjoy the fresh air. I feel good. My body feels strong. My mind feels calm. At night, I eat dinner. At night, I dinner. Then I relax. I watch a video or read something. I like to read. I love reading mangas. I read every single day. Before sleeping, I think about my day. I feel grateful. A good day is not about doing everything. A good day is about doing simple things well. Small actions create a good life. What about you? What is a good day for you? What do you like to do? Subscribe to this channel, like the video. If you want to practice English every day, check out my app or book a class with me. The link is in the description. See you next lesson. Today, you will listen to slow English. Very slow, very clear, and very simple. And you will learn how to talk about your hello. My name is Emerson, but you can call me Mercy. Welcome to this slow English lesson. Today, we're gonna practice your listening and speaking. So, listen carefully. The first time, watch without subtitles. The second time, watch with subtitles. And if you can, repeat after me on the second time. This will help you speak more naturally. All right, let's start. I'm Emerson, but my nickname is Merson. I'm an English teacher. I teach English online. I teach students from many places. I like teaching. Teaching is important. I help people learn English. I like helping people. What about you? What about you? Are you a student or are you working? You can say, I am, and you can say, for example, I am a student, or you can also say, I am a or in your occupation. I like programming. Programming is interesting. It's fun. And it's creative. I like solving problems. I build things on the computer and I create systems that help my students learn English. What about you? Do you like computers? Do you like computers? I like teaching English.
I also like recording videos. I like posting videos on YouTube. I like posting videos on Instagram. I like posting videos on Facebook and also TikTok. I record videos every single day. Every single day, I create lessons. I create materials. I create content. I want to help students learn English. That is my goal. If you haven't watched, if you didn't watch my lesson about goals, you can check it out here in this channel. I like exercising. Exercising is very important. I train my body. It's healthy. I feel good after exercising. I feel strong and I feel better. I work out at home. I work out every single day. What about you? Do you work out? I like dogs. Dogs are friendly. Dogs are fun. I play with dogs. Dogs make me happy. What about you? Do you like dogs? Do you have a dog? I like reading manga. It's interesting. It's fun. I read manga in my free time. I also study Japanese. Japanese is a beautiful language. I study Japanese every single day. What about you? Do you like anime or manga? In my day, I do many things. I work, I study, I teach, I create. I try to improve every day. At night, I relax. I watch something or study Japanese. Now, listen again, but with subtitles. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. See you in the next lesson. If you want to practice English every day, check my app. And if you want to speak faster and with confidence, book a class with me. Start today. Links in the description. Bye-bye. Today, you will listen to slow English. Very slow, very clear, and very simple. And you will learn how to talk about your hello. My name is Emerson, but you can call me Mercy. Welcome to this slow English lesson. Today, we're gonna practice your listening and speaking. So, listen carefully. The first time, watch without subtitles. The second time, watch with subtitles. And if you can, repeat after me on the second time. This will help you speak more naturally. All right, let's start. I'm Emerson, but my nickname is Morrison. I'm an English teacher. I teach English online. I teach students from many places. I like teaching. Teaching is important. I help people learn English. I like helping people. What about you? What about you? Are you a student or are you working? You can say, I am, and you can say, for example, I am a student, or you can also say, I am a or an in your occupation. I like programming. Programming is interesting. It's fun. And it's creative. I like solving problems. I build things on the computer. And I create systems that help my students learn English. What about you? Do you like computers? Do you like computers? I like teaching English. I also like recording videos. I like posting videos on YouTube. I like posting videos on Instagram. I like posting videos on Facebook and also TikTok. I record videos every single day. Every single day. I create lessons. I create materials. I create content. I want to help students learn English. That is my goal. If you didn't watch my lesson about goals, you can check it out here in this channel. I like exercising. Exercising is very important. I train my body. It's healthy. I feel good after exercising. I feel strong and I feel better. I work out at home. I work out every single day. What about you? Do you work out? I like dogs. Dogs are friendly. Dogs are fun. I play with dogs. Dogs make me happy. What about you? Do you like dogs? Do you have a dog? I like reading manga. It's interesting. It's fun. I read manga in my free time. I also study Japanese. Japanese is a beautiful language. I study Japanese every single day. What about you? Do you like anime or manga? In my day, I do many things. I work, I study, I teach, I create. I try to improve every day. At night, I relax I watch something or study Japanese. Now, listen again, but with subtitles. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. See you in the next lesson. If you want to practice English every day, check my app. And if you want to speak faster and with confidence, book a class with me. Start today. Links in the description. Bye-bye.
This is not just a simple story. It's a story about human nature. If you listen carefully, you will not only improve your English, but also understand something deeper about people. Once there was a tree. Not just any tree, but one that gave everything it had. And there was a boy. When he was young, he would run to the tree every day. He would climb its branches, eat its apples, and rest in its shade. At that time, he didn't ask for anything. He simply enjoyed being there. And the tree was happy. But the boy grew older. His desires began to change. One day he returned not with joy, but with concern. I need money. I need money, he said. The tree, without hesitation, replied, "Take my apples, sell them. You will have what you need." The boy took everything and left. The tree remained, still giving, still waiting. The boy returned again, this time with a different request. "I need a place to live." The tree answered, "Take my branches. Build yourself a house." Again, the boy took what he needed and disappeared. Time continued to move forward. Eventually, he came back. "I want to escape," he said. "I need a boat. I need the boat." The tree, now almost empty, said, "Take my trunk. Build your boat." And so he did. And the tree was once again left behind. Finally, after many years, the boy returned. One last time. He was no longer a boy. He was tired, old, slower. "I don't need much anymore," he said. "Just a quiet place to sit." The tree, now reduced to a stump, whispered, "This is something I can still give." And the boy sat down. And the tree was still happy. This story is not really about the tree. It's about relationships. It's about how people give and how others take. It raises an uncomfortable question. Is unconditional giving always good? Or does it create imbalance? The boy represents desire, growth, ambition. The tree represents sacrifice, patience, and unconditional love. But here's the real question. Was the tree truly happy or simply unable to stop giving? Now I want you to think in English. Answer this. Do you believe in unconditional giving? Or should there be limits? Write your answer in the comments. If you can understand this story, you are no longer a beginner. You are thinking in English. If you want to reach fluency, you need content like this. Subscribe, keep training. Your English is going to get better every single day. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next class. Most people think this is a children's story, but that's exactly why they misunderstand it. Today, you not only practice advanced English, but also explore a story that reveals how people lose meaning over time. Once, there was a little prince who lived on a planet barely bigger than himself. His world was simple. He had 3 volcanoes and 1 single rose. But that rose was not easy to live. She was demanding. She was proud. She often said things that made no sense. And because of that, the prince began to doubt his feelings. Instead of trying to understand, he chose to leave. He traveled across the universe, visiting one planet after another. On the first planet, he met a king who believed he ruled everything, even things he could not control. On another, he met a man desperate for admiration, who needed constant validation. Then he met a businessman who spent his entire life counting stars, believing he owned them. None of them were truly living. They were trapped in their own illusions. Finally, the prince arrived on Earth. There, he met the fox, and the fox introduced him to something he had never fully understood: connection. The fox said, "You become responsible forever for what you have tamed." At first, this idea felt heavy. Responsibility means commitment. It means presence. It means care. Slowly, the prince realized something painful. He had abandoned his rose not because she was difficult, but because he was immature. Love is not simple. It requires patience, attention, understanding, and most importantly, time. When he looked at a garden full of roses, he understood they all looked the same, but none of them were his. His rose was special because of the time he had invested in her. In the end, he didn't learn something new. He remembered something he had forgotten. This story explores a central contradiction. People want connection, but avoid responsibility. They want love, but resist the effort it requires. The adults in the story represent different forms of scope, control, validation, productivity, distraction. None of these bring meaning. Meaning comes from connection, and connection requires vulnerability. That's why the fox is essential. It teaches that meaning is not found, it is created. Now, answer in English. Why do people avoid emotional responsibility? Do you think love requires sacrifice? Why? What is more important, freedom or connection? If you can follow this level of explanation, you are already operating beyond intermediate English. If you want to keep developing this level, subscribe and train your English with depth every day. Today, you listen to a story in English. The story is called I Woke Up in the Future. I went to sleep in my normal bedroom, but when I opened my eyes, everything was different. My bed was different. My room was different. The city was different. And then I saw the date. It was the year 2050. Listen carefully. Try to understand the story. Do not translate every word. Just listen, relax, and follow the story. I woke up in the future last night. I went to bed very tired. It was a normal night. I brushed my teeth. I drank some water. I checked my phone. Then I turned off the light. I looked at the ceiling for a few minutes. I was thinking about my life. I was thinking about my work. I was thinking about my family. I was thinking about the future. I said to myself, what will my life be like in the future? Then I closed my eyes. I fell asleep. Everything was normal. But the next morning, something was wrong. I opened my eyes slowly. At first, I did not understand anything. The room was very bright, but the light was not coming from the window. The light was coming from the walls. The walls were shining. They were soft blue. They looked like a computer screen. I sat in the bed. I looked around. This was not my room. My bed was different. My desk was different. My clothes were different. There was no phone next to my bed. There was no TV. There was no computer. There was only a small glass screen floating in the air. I was confused. I said, "Where am I?" Suddenly, a calm voice answered, "Good morning, Emerson." I jumped. I looked around again. There was nobody in the room. I said, "Who are you?" The voice said, "I'm your home assistant." I said, "My what?" The voice said, "Your home assistant. I help you with your day." I was very surprised. I got out of bed. The floor was warm. The room was clean. Too clean. Everything looked new. Everything looked modern. I walked to the window, but there was no normal window. The wall became transparent. I could see the city outside, and the city was amazing. There were tall buildings everywhere. There were flying cars in the sky. There were small robots on the street. There were trees on top of buildings. There were gardens in the air. I could not believe it. I said, "This is impossible." The voice said, "Nothing is impossible in 2050. I stopped. I turned around. I said, "What'd you say?" The voice repeated, "Nothing is impossible in 2050. I felt cold. I felt nervous. I felt afraid. I said slowly, "Did you say 2050? The voice said, "Yes, today is March 18th, 2050. I sat down on the bed again. My heart was beating fast. Yesterday it was 2026. Today it was 2050. How was that? Today it is 2050. How was that possible? Did I sleep for one night? Or did I sleep for many years? I didn't know. I looked at my hands. They looked the same. I looked in the mirror. They looked the same. I was not old. I was not different. But the world was different. Very different. I asked the assistant, "Where did I get here?" The assistant said, "I do not have that information." I said, "Where's my phone?" The assistant said, "Phones are no longer used." I said, "What? No phones?" The assistant said, "People do not use phones now. They use smart lenses, voice systems, and personal AI." I touched my face. I did not have smart lenses. I did not have anything. I was just me, a normal person from the past. I needed answers. I needed to understand what happened. I said, "Open the news." The wall changed. Suddenly, the wall became a giant screen. A woman appeared on the screen. She was talking about the weather. But the weather was not normal. She said, "Today, the city will have artificial rain at 3 p.m. Artificial rain? I was shocked. The woman continued, "The flying bus system is working normally." Flying bus? I was even more shocked. Then another headline appeared. Robot teachers help students learn faster. I looked at the screen. Robot teachers? I'm an English teacher. I thought, do teachers still exist? I asked the assistant, "Are there still human teachers?" The assistant answered, "Yes, human teachers still exist, but many students learn with AI teachers first." I felt strange. Part of me was happy technology was helping people, but part of me was worried. I thought about my students, I thought about my classes, I thought about real conversations, I thought about human connections. Could a robot really understand a student? Could a robot really motivate a person? Could a robot really motivate a person? Robot really care? I was not sure. Then the assistant said, "Your breakfast is ready." I said, "My breakfast?" The door opened itself. I walked slowly into the kitchen. The kitchen was white and silver. There was no stove. There was no refrigerator. There were no plants on the table. There was only a small machine. The machine made a soft sound. Then a tray came out. On the tray, there was coffee. There was bread. There were eggs. It looked normal. I smiled. Finally, something normal. I sat down. I drank the coffee. It was good. Very good. I took a bite of the breakfast. It was also good. I said, "Very good." I took a bite of the bread. It was also good. I said, "At least breakfast is still breakfast." The assistant said, "Actually, the bread is made from plant protein. The eggs are artificial and the coffee has no caffeine." I stopped eating. I looked at the food. I said, "Artificial eggs?" The assistant said, "Yes, they taste like eggs, but they're not from chickens." I said, "And the coffee?" The assistant said, "It tastes like coffee, but it does not affect your sleep." I laughed. I did not know if I liked the future or not. Everything was smart, everything was fast, everything was clean, but everything felt a little strange. After breakfast, I wanted to go outside. I said, how do I leave the house? The assistant said, the door will open when you're ready. I walked to the door. The door opened. I stepped outside. The hallway was quiet. Too quiet. There were no people. Only small robots moving on the floor. The robot stopped in front of me. It said, good morning. I said, good morning. Then I laughed. I was talking to a robot in a hallway. I took the elevator, but the elevator did not have buttons. It said, ground floor. The elevator moved immediately. It was very fast. In 3 seconds, I was on the ground floor. Walked outside, I saw the city clearly. The air was clean. The streets were clean. There were no loud engines. There was no smoke. There were cars, but they did not touch the ground. They moved silently. Some people were walking. Some people were riding electric bikes. Some people were talking to the air. At first, I thought they were crazy. But then I understood. They were talking to their AI assistant. A man walked past me and said, schedule my meeting for 4 p.m. A woman said, translate this message into Spanish. Child said, show me a dinosaur. And then in front of the child, a dinosaur appeared. It was not real. It was a hologram, but it looked real. The child smiled. I smiled too. That was beautiful. Then I looked up. A flying bus was coming. It stopped in the air. People entered through a platform. I wanted to try it. I walked to the station. A screen appeared in front of me. It said, where do you want to go? I did not know. So I said, city center. The screen said, please enter. I entered the flying bus. There was no driver. There were big windows. The seats were comfortable. The bus started moving. Slowly, it went up, higher and higher. I looked down. The city looked amazing. There were parks between buildings. There were rivers with clean water. There were solar panels everywhere. There were gardens on rooftops. There were people, robots, and machines working together. It was beautiful. But I still felt lost. I was in the future, but I did not belong there. I did not have friends there. I did not have family there. I did not know the city. I did not know the rules. I did not know how to live in that world. The bus stopped in the city center. I got off. There were huge screens everywhere. But they were not showing normal ads. They were showing personal messages. When I walked by, one screen said, good morning, Emerson. Would you like to study something today? I stopped. How did the screen know my name? I said, no, thank you. The screen said, okay, have a nice day. I walked faster. The future was polite, but the future was also watching me. I entered a shopping center. There were no cashiers. There were no lines. People picked up products and walked out. The system knew what they look. The system charged them automatically. The system knew what they took. The system charged them automatically. I walked into a clothing store. Amir said, hello, would you like to try new clothes? I said, yeah. The mirror said, you look confused. I said, yes, I am confused. The mirror said, would you like help? I said, can you help me go back to 2026? The mirror was silent. Then it said, I cannot help with time travel. I laughed again. A mirror is talking to me about time travel. What a day. I left the store. Outside, I saw a small school. Through the glass wall, I could see students. They were sitting in a circle. In the middle of the circle, there was a robot. The robot was teaching English. I became very curious. I entered the school. A woman at the entrance smiled at me. She said, can I help you? I said, yes, I'm an English teacher. She said, that's wonderful. We still need human teachers. I felt better. I said, can I watch the class? She said, of course. I entered the classroom. The robot was speaking slowly. It said, repeat after me. I will travel tomorrow. The students repeated, I will travel tomorrow. The robot said, she will study tonight. The students repeated, she will study tonight. I smiled. They were learning the future tense. The same grammar, different century. The robot continued, we will live in a better world. The students repeated, we'll live in a better world. Then one student raised his hand. He asked, teacher, why do we say will? The robot gave a very fast answer. It used difficult words. The student looked confused. I knew that face. I have seen that face many times. It was the face of a student who did not understand. I raised my hand. The woman looked at me. I said, can I explain? She smiled and said, yes, please. I walked to the front of the room. I looked at the students. I said, will is simple. The students looked at me. I said, we use will to talk about the future. Then I wrote 3 sentences on the digital board. I will study, you will learn, we will improve. Then I said, see, it's simple. The students repeated, I will study, you will learn, we will improve. I said, now let's make it personal. I pointed to one student and asked, what will you do tomorrow? He said, I will play soccer. I said, good. I pointed to another student. What will you eat tonight? She said, I will eat pasta. I said, excellent. Then I asked the class, what will you do in the future? One student said, I will be a doctor. Another said, I will be a pilot. Another said, I will help animals. Another said, I will learn many languages. I smiled. At that moment, I understand something. At that moment, I understood something. The future was different, but students were the same. They still had dreams. They still had questions. They still needed simple explanations. They still needed confidence. They still needed someone to say, you can do it. The robot was intelligent, very intelligent. But the robot didn't smile like a teacher. The robot didn't understand a student's fear. The robot didn't know when to slow down. The robot didn't say, don't worry, this is normal. A human teacher still had value. I felt calm. For the first time that day, I felt useful. After the class, the woman thanked me. She said, "You explain very clearly." I said, "Thank you. I come from a time when teachers had to explain everything many times." She laughed. I asked her, "What happened to the world?" She said, "What you mean?" I said, "I mean, how did everything change so much?" She looked at the city outside. She said, "Little by little." I said, "Little by little?" She said, "Yes. One new machine, one new app, one new system, one new idea. Then after many years, the world looked completely different." I thought about that. Little by little. That's how everything changes. That's how cities change. That's how technology changes. That's how people change. And that's how we learn English. Not in one day, not in one week, little by little. One word today, one sentence tomorrow, one conversation next week, one listening lesson every day. Little by little, you change. Little by little, your English changes. I thanked the woman and left the school. Now I wanted to find a way back. I asked my assistant, "Is there a place where I can learn about time travel?" The assistant answered, "Yes, the Museum of Time and Memory." I said, "Take me there." A small car stopped in front of me. The door opened. The assistant said, "Please, enter." I entered the car. Again, there was no driver. The car started moving. I looked through the window. People looked happy, but they were very busy. Many people were talking to a screen. Many people were wearing smart glasses. Many people were alone. They made me think the future had many things: fast cars, smart houses, robot teachers, flying buses, artificial food, clean cities. But did people have more time? Did people talk more? Did people listen more? Did people feel less lonely? I was not sure. The car stopped in front of the museum. The building was huge. On the front, there were big words, "The Museum of Time and Memory." I entered. Inside, it was quiet. A guide robot came to me. It said, "Welcome. What would you like to see?" I said, "I want to understand time travel." The robot said, "Time travel is not open to the public." I said, "So it exists?" The robot was silent. Then it said, "Please follow me." I followed the robot into a dark room. In the room, there were pictures from many years: 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. I saw old phones, old computers, old cars, old books, old cameras. And then I saw something that made me stop. I saw my phone, my old phone. It was inside a glass box. Under it, there was a small sign. The sign said, "Personal device from 2026. I moved closer. It was really my phone, from my bedroom, from last night." I said, "This is mine." The robot said, "This is not possible." I said, "Yes, it is. This is my phone." The robot looked at me, then it said, "Please, wait." A few seconds later, an older woman entered the room. She looked serious. She said, "Are you Emerson?" I said, "Yes." She looked surprised, very surprised. She said, "You should not be here. I said, I know. I went to sleep in 2026 and I woke up here. She looked at my face, then she looked at my hands. She looked at the phone. She said, this happened once before. I said, what happened? She said, a person from the past appeared in the future, but only for one day. I said, only one day? She said, yes, at midnight, the person returned. I felt hope. Maybe I could go home. I asked, how? She said, we don't know exactly, but we think it happens when a person thinks deeply about the future before sleeping. I remember my words. What will my life be like in the future? I had said that before sleeping. The one said, maybe your mind opened a door. I said, a door? She said, not the physical door, a door in time. I did not understand everything, but I understood one thing. I had to wait until midnight. I asked, can I take my phone? She said, no, it belongs to the museum. I said, but it belongs to me. She smiled and said, in this time, it belongs to the museum. In your time, it belongs to you. Time was confusing, very confusing. The woman said, you have a few hours before midnight. You should see the world before you go back. I said, what should I see? She said, go to the memory park. I asked, what is that? She said, it is a place where people remember the past. I left the museum and went to Memory Park. The park was beautiful. There were trees, flowers, and quiet paths. But there were also holograms. People could see memories. A man was watching a memory of his childhood. A woman was watching a memory of her wedding. A child was watching a memory of her grandfather. The memories looked real. I walked slowly. Then I saw a sign. Create a message for the past. I stopped. A message for the past? I touched the screen. It asked, what year do you want to send this message to? I typed 2026. Then it asked, what message do you want to send? I thought for a long time. What should I tell my past self? Should I say technology will change everything? Should I say be careful? Should I say learn more? Should I say work harder? Then I started speaking. I said, Dear Emerson, from 2026. Today I woke up in the future. The world was different. Cars can fly. Houses can talk. Robots can teach. Food can be artificial. Screens are everywhere. Everything is fast. Everything is smart. But some things are still the same. People still want to learn. Students still need help. Children still have dreams. Teachers still matter. Friends still matter. Human connection still matters. So do not be afraid of the future. Use technology. Learn from it. But do not forget people. Do not forget simple things. Do not forget to listen, to speak, to live. And remember, big changes happen little by little. If you want to improve your English, study a little every day. If you want to change your life, take one step today. The future is not created tomorrow. The future is created now. I stopped. The screen saved my message. I felt emotional. The sky was getting dark. It was almost night. I walked through the park one last time. The city lights were beautiful. The flying cars looked like stars. The buildings were shining. The robots were working. The people were walking. The future was not perfect, but it was interesting. It was scary, but it was beautiful. It was fast, but it still needed slow moments. It was intelligent, but it still needed love. At 11:50 p.m., I went back to the apartment. The assistant said, "Welcome home, Emerson." I said, "Thank you." The assistant asked, "Did you enjoy your day?" I thought for a moment. I said, "Yes, but I missed my time." The assistant said, "Why?" I said, "Because my life is there." The assistant said, "But the future is here." I smiled. I said, "Yes, but my future starts there." I went to the bedroom. The walls were blue again. The bed was ready. I lay down. I looked at the ceiling, just like the night before. But now I was different. I had seen the future. I had seen the world of 2050. I had seen amazing technology. I had seen robot teachers. I had seen flying buses. I had seen artificial food. I had seen smart homes. But the most important thing I learned was simple. The future is not only about machines. The future is about people. People who learn, people who teach, people who dream, people who try again, people who change little by little. The clock showed 11:59. I closed my eyes. I heard the assistant's voice one last time. It said, "Good night, Emerson." I whispered, "Good night." Then everything became dark. When I opened my eyes again, the room was quiet. The light was normal. The walls were normal. The window was normal. My phone was next to my bed. I picked it up quickly. The date was March 18th, 2026. I was back. I sat on the bed. I looked around. Everything was the same. But I was not the same. I went to the kitchen. I made real coffee. I ate real bread. I smiled. Then I opened my notebook. At the top of the page, I wrote, "The future starts today." Then I wrote my plan. I'll study more. I'll teach better. I'll use technology. I'll help more people. I'll not be afraid. I'll improve little by little. And then I thought about you. Yes, you, the person listening to this story. Maybe you want to speak English. Maybe you want to understand English. Maybe you feel slow. Maybe you feel lost. Maybe you think, my English will never improve. But listen carefully. Your English can improve. Your listening can improve. Your speaking can improve. Your confidence can improve. But it will not happen by magic. It will happen little by little. Listen today. Repeat tomorrow, study again next week, make mistakes, try again, keep going. One day, you will look back and say, I changed, I improved, I understand more now, I can speak better now. And that day will feel like the future. But it starts today. So breathe, relax, listen again if you need to, and remember, the future starts with one simple step. Maybe your first step is this lesson. Now, let's remember the most important sentence from this story. Repeat in your mind. I woke up in the future. The city was different. The room was different. There were flying cars. There were robot teachers. The world was smart, but people were still people. Students still had dreams. Teachers still had value. The future starts today. I'll study more. I'll improve little by little. I'll not give up. If you understood the story, write this in the comments. The future starts today. And if you want more listening stories like this, subscribe to the channel and watch the next lesson. Listen every day, study little by little, and your English will improve. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next class.